All right, let's look at the running backs. This is always a loaded group because this is the group, Denny, that gets absolutely devastated by the franchise tag. Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs are no stranger to that.
Yeah.
Is Derrick Henry, though, and the list is Derrick Henry, Tony Pollard, Austin Ekeler, DeAndre Swift, J.K. Dobbins. Is Derrick Henry there, Denny?
Yeah.
A guy that, not written off because he's Derrick Henry, but we've been so sure of his downfall with the Titans, and maybe he goes somewhere chasing a ring, and it's, this guy can easily walk in for 12 touchdowns again.
So I wrote a column for NBC Sports a couple of summers ago where I said I'm done doubting Derrick Henry. Like I've made a career out of doubting him. I'm done doing that. I'm not going to do it now. I think that he can end up in a spot where he is strategically used as like a red zone threat, as a guy who's seeing maybe like 12 to 14 touches, but also has that explosive ability. I mean, you look at his like advanced metrics, and he didn't fall off that much this year. He was also in a really awful offense.
Yeah, that offensive line was brutal.
Terrible, right? And so I think that it's indicative of a guy who doesn't age the way we're used to running backs aging. I think that he probably still has a year or two of like a fantasy viability left in him.
I think we saw as well what he could do in that last game against Jacksonville, where Tennessee, their offensive line still wasn't good. It's just that the Jags were so seemingly apathetic to their season that he did have running lanes. And when you give Henry space, I mean, just anecdotally, it looks like he just had like kind of a larger turning circle than usual this year, and it was harder for him to accelerate. But like Denny said, the advanced stuff on Henry is still really good.
But I think landing spot's going to be somewhat important here, But like, could you see him in Dallas?
I could.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you see him in Pittsburgh as part of a three-headed monster for
no,
Arthur
please,
Smith?
Please no.
I don't want to put that in the universe.
That's what nightmares are made of.
I know, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of Dallas, Tony Pollard on this list. It was not the fantasy season we were all hoping for from Tony Pollard. Matthew didn't finish as a top 20 running back in points per game this year.
He was bad.
Usage was
that's what's weird is like the offense was super efficient and he got a lot of run.
Yeah.
He wasn't nearly as efficient in the red zone as Rico Dowdle.
Oh yeah.
So it's like it wasn't a team thing. You know what I mean? That's what's so crazy about Pollard. And I don't know what happened. I don't know if he was because of the wear and tear, like he just didn't have the explosiveness. Maybe he was hiding an injury. He came off the surgery. Maybe just he wasn't 100% healthy.
I think that was it. Because around Thanksgiving, Tony Pollard came out in an interview and said, "Hey, by the way, I'm fully healthy now from that leg break that I had last year." And we were all, "Wait, what? You weren't healthy until Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
You broke your leg?"
And right. And I was wondering, I remember in the summer doing the Roto World Football Show, I'd say, this guy just like shattered his leg. Like it's one of the worst leg breaks I've ever seen on the field. And no one, like the team's not talking about it, he's not talking about it. So I do think that maybe a year removed from that, we could see like the old Tony Pollard emerge. But yeah, last year was terrible. The red zone stuff was out of control bad for Tony Pollard.
On this list, Austin Ekeler, obviously one of the most interesting.
He'll be a sleeper, though, this year. I bet you he's going to be
I could see that.
He's going to be somebody like James Conner that no one's going to want.
Right.
And then you're going to look up at the end of next year and he's like RB12.
Right.
He's going to be drafted as like running back 22 or something like that.
Austin Ekeler on this list as well had a really interesting quote on free agency, guys. He said, "I think I'm going to be real selective on where I play next season. This season has been a collective of not good things happening." Danny, just an all-around tough year for Ekeler, injury included, injury most notable.
And maybe that's the new norm for Ekeler as he gets, on in years for a running back. I do think that, like Henry, he can be used selectively, more as a pass catcher in a good offense. I actually was thinking Dallas. You mentioned Henry to Dallas. I was thinking Ekeler to Dallas might make sense. I will say I was looking for any argument to say that he wasn't falling off that much, but man, everything points to him falling off, including like his ability to command targets. But then you look at the Chargers offense with Easton Stick and whatnot, and you're thinking, well, how can anyone overcome that?
I will say this. So we're supposed to talk to Austin Ekeler later this week, and he is, in addition to obviously being a great NFL player, he is an astute fantasy football manager.
Yes.
And I think we can ask him, we'll ask him about he's very open about all that stuff. I think we'll have a great conversation with him. And it's interesting if his feelings about the Chargers have changed, given Harbaugh is now the head coach. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and Rotoworld.com. And I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched. Or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel.
You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.